The full 5-minute breakdown on how to make this chicken coop. The overall size of this bad boy is going to be 4 feet by 5 feet. Now that you know the size, let's start making the walls. The first wall we're making is going to be the front wall that has the window and it's going to eventually have the nesting box. Make sure you're watched by a supervisor that's extra cute. Make sure you pre-drill before you actually put in the screws so you don't split any of the wood. Look at that, a little pre-drilling makes these screws going like butter. All 4 walls are going to be slightly different and the front wall is going to be taller than the rest to give it a lean-to style roof. The spacing between all boards are roughly 16 inches on center. The coop is also going to be raised on 4x4 pressure treated pine. Make the frame that's 4x5 and then attach the posts to each one of the sides. The post will be flush with the top of the base. Repeat this process 4 more times and then flip this bad boy over. It's ready for some plywood. Then you just gotta screw the plywood down to the frame. For a little bit of extra strength, I put one more stretcher piece that goes from one side to the other. Now you're finally ready to put it out in the home location. You gotta make sure if you're gonna put it on grass, it's nice and level. Even if you put it on cement, make sure it's nice and level. Then it's time to put up these walls on this house. With the assistance of some clamps and your wife or your husband or your girlfriend or your side piece, you could put up these walls in no time. I love when my wife gets in action. Look at her put those screws in like a fucking boss. All the walls are going to be attached to the floor and also to the side walls that are attached to them. Again, the use of clamps really makes your life easier, so I suggest you get a pair. Once the walls are up, next thing you gotta do is add some sheathing. You could really pick what you want, but I chose some 1/2-inch regular sanded plywood because it looks a little nicer and easy to paint. I have the specific sizes for the walls, but what I really did is just attach it and then I just used a router to cut everything out so it would be perfect. That house is for chickens and not people. Make sure you get your kids involved because they love this stuff. If you don't have a router, you could always use a circular saw. It's not done yet. What do you got to say to the people? This is how the coop will look once all the walls are up. You see all the screws, but they will be covered by board and batten. But first, it's time to mess with the roof. You build the roof just like you build the walls. You're just going to have a frame, and then you're going to cover the frame. For the actual roof piece, I'm going to use some polycarbonate. I use this specifically for plastic's blade on my saw, but you could use a multi-tool for this. The way I did this, I put 2 on the sides, and I'm going to put 1 that's over top of both of them. So no water is going to get in through that bad boy. You're going to get these specific screws that come with the roof, and you're just going to put it right down into the frame, and they have a little gasket so no water gets inside that way either. I did roughly a 2-inch overhang, but you could change it up if you want to. I picked up these H1 hurricane ties from Home Depot to attach the roof. I measured everything first so I could put the front pieces on there where I need to, and then I'm just going to slide the roof on, and then once it's ready, I'll pull it down on the other side and attach the other brackets to it just like this. They basically have 3 screws on the side and 4 screws that go into the frame. Don't be alarmed if you're going to see a little bit of space between the frame and the actual roof. It's supposed to be like that. Now it's finally time to dress it up and make it look pretty. I'm going to use some 1x5s for all the corners, and I'm going to use 1x4s for all the inside pieces. These are all pine boards and they're going to be just fine outside because I'm going to paint them and treat them. It's going to be all good for all those people worried. If you got some extra money to blow, you could use some composite stuff, but it's up to you. It's crazy how a little board and batten makes everything look so much better on this coop. Sorry for the dark video, the sun was going down at like 4 o'clock. Once the board and batten was up, I started to stain the top. I'm a sucker for some warm stain and some black. That's my 2 favorite things. If you don't like it, you could choose a different color, but this is what I did. I grabbed my paint sprayer and I got to spraying some wood paint from Bayer. This stuff looks beautiful and it goes on so smooth. And then it's like unwrapping a present on Christmas morning. The best part of painting outside is being able to use your sprayer without taping off much. What? There's 2 ways to make this door. You could use plywood. I have those plans, but you could also use 2x6s if you want a little heavier door and you know how to use a router. It's made exactly the same way, so you don't have to worry about that. And this is how it's going to look either way. I use the same stain that I use on top as on the door, and that's how it looks. Ooh, beautiful. Chef's kiss. As for the window, I used some 2x4s that I cut down to just slightly smaller than that, so I could actually open the window without it rubbing. I added some trim and then some plexiglass. I picked up the plexiglass at Home Depot as well, and again I cut it with the plastic blade. Whenever I'm cutting plastic or even plywood, I like to put tape down so I don't have any blowouts. Once everything is cut to size, I'm going to flip over the window and drop this right onto the trim pieces. To hold this in place, I'm just going to have scrap pieces that aren't as high and then just glue it in place, and that is how it's going to look and that's how it's going to work. Now these chickens could blow the stink off their ass. The last thing you got to do for the coop is make a nesting box. I only have 5 chickens, so I only made a nesting box with 3 holes, which really doesn't matter because they only actually use 2 2 of them. The top of the box has a 10-degree slope on it, so water wicks off it, and that's how it's looking without board and bedding. And then once you add board and bedding, that's how it looks then. Next thing I had to do is level out the ground and add a run. My overall run is 8x5. Look at these little chickens sitting up here on the perch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice. I have plans available, and you can see all the specifics for how to make the run and the coop. If you have any questions, you could always ask. Please, please, please enjoy the coop. Hopefully the plans make it easy. If you're not here because you want the plans, thanks for watching this extremely long video and supporting the channel. I really appreciate it, and I hope this works out for you and you get some nice fresh eggs from these sweet little chickens.